All right, hi guys. This is going to be a really short video just kind of reviewing how do we solve a system. And so we're focusing on systems algebraically. And what that means is when I need to solve a systems problem where I have multiple equations or multiple lines on one graph, I can solve them three different ways now that we've learned in class. So my plan is I'm just going to make a chart here and list kind of like 1, 2, and 3. And these are the three methods we've been practicing in class a lot. And so the three methods include these three things. The first one we learned very early on, it's called the equal values method. The second way is called the substitution method. And the third way is called the elimination method. And so these are like the three different ways when you see a systems problem that you can algebraically approach it and solve it. You can choose. And really what you have to do is you have to read a problem and decide by yourself which method is the best one. Because it's not going to tell you. You're not going to take a test or be working on a problem, and it's not going to say specifically like use the elimination method. You just have to know how to do it, and you have to choose the elimination method on your own. And so this is my kind of guidance and advice. This is how I make a decision on which method I'm going to use. If I get two equations, let's start over here. If I get two equations and they're both y equals and y equals, like y equals mx plus b and y equals mx plus b, that's how I know it's an equal values problem. I know that if both my lines are in that form, y equals, I can use this first method. So I quickly identify it. I look at the equation and I'm like, oh, hey, look, it's y equals, equal values method. Substitution, which I sometimes call the bubble method, is kind of a mixed version here. One of the equations might be in y equals format, but the other is not. So only one line that you are given is in the y equals. The other is scrambled up, kind of mixed up. And then the third way, this elimination method, the newest way, both lines are scrambled up. They're not in y equals mx plus b. And technically, they're not really called scrambled up. They're called in standard form. You have two equations in standard form. Neither one of them look like y equals mx plus b. So basically, when you get a systems problem, you have to look at the problem and decide which format, which type is it, and you have to choose the right method on your own to solve. And technically, there's a fourth way we could add to our list. There's actually four ways to solve a system, but the fourth way is a little bit different. The fourth way is to graph it. So of course, you can always solve it by graphing, and I'm going to add that to the bottom. Number 4, fourth strategy, graph it. Graph it and find the point of intersect, which is totally a great strategy until you start getting like points of intersects that are at decimals and fractions or really big numbers like the point of intersects out at 107. You might not want to graph that, and you might prefer to do one of these faster, simpler algebra methods versus graphing. Now, if you can do both, if you can choose one of these methods and solve, and you can also graph it, that's what we call in our classroom a level 4. That's pretty advanced work if you could show your answer two different ways. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. If you can do both ways, that's a really good skill. So in summary, here's the big thing to know. There are 4 ways to solve systems. You have to choose when you read a problem what the right method is for you. Graphing it always works, but you really want to be able to choose from your algebra skills here. So it's equal values, substitution, or elimination. And pay very close attention to the detail of the equations. All right, I hope that helps. Keep practicing your systems problems, and I'll post more videos.